Hi, my name is Deb Weiss-Gelmi, and this is a gentle yoga class with some basic standing poses. So you'll need some props today. A strap. If you don't have a strap, you could use a necktie or a hand towel. A block or a footstool or some sturdy books. A chair. If you don't have a folding chair, a dining room chair is fine. And then a yoga mat and a wall. If you can get near a wall today, that would be helpful. If you don't have a wall available, that's fine as well. Okay. So our first pose is Tadasana. Stand in the middle of your mat. Press through your inner heel, big toe mound. Feel the full circle of the heel on the floor. And then feel across the balls of the toes from the big toe mound out to the little toe mound. And then press the thighs back. Press the middle buttock forward. And lift the side chest up toward the ceiling. Lift the sternum toward the ceiling. And then take the shoulders down toward the floor, pointing the fingers slightly toward the floor. Tadasana. It means mountain pose. So we're looking for stability in this pose. And then take your arms out in front of you for Urdhva Sthasana. And today, bend the elbows before we go up. So bending the elbows, and then when you move your elbows, or when we straighten our arms, take your triceps toward each other, the bottom part of that arm. Take the triceps toward each other as you straighten the arms up. So when the arms are up here, the triceps still coming toward each other. Another way to say that is the inner upper arm going toward the wall behind you. Lift and lengthen those arms up. And then take the shoulders away from the ears. And with all that work in the arms, sometimes we forget about our feet. So take your attention back to your feet. Feel the full circle of the heel on the floor. Feel the big toe mound pressing into the floor. And then bring the arms down halfway. Notice their straightness, working for straightness, and then the arms down. Back to Tadasana. And then our next pose is Badanguliasana. So clasp your fingers together, take your palms away, and then looking for that straight arm again. And then take the arms up, overhead, pressing the palms up toward the ceiling, taking the shoulders away from the ears. Soften the face. Feel your connection with the floor and your feet. Lift the sternum up. Lengthen up through the palms of the hands. Shoulders away from the ears. And then we'll switch the clasp of your hands. So you have the clasp of your first. The thumb and fingers that are in the front will go behind the other thumb and fingers. And then palms away and back up. So pressing through that heel, lengthening up through the palms. One long line. Shoulders away from the ears. Soften the face. And then release the hands, palms face each other. And then allow those arms to go out to the side, back to Tadasana. Our next pose is Virabhadrasana 2. So jump or step your feet wide. Turn your feet to the right. Press through the outer edge of the back foot and soften the inner thigh of the right leg. So the knee goes right over that heel. Notice if your torso is leaning toward the bent leg and try to bring your torso upright and even more toward that back leg. Spread the arms and look over your right fingertips. So lift the chest. Lift the chest, shoulders away from the ears. Spread the arms wide. Lift that chest up, shoulders away from the ears. Sometimes this happens when we're working really hard, so you want to try to take the shoulders away from the ears. And then to come out, straighten that leg, toes forward, and to the other side. So with those arms spread, you can always rest your hands on your hips if you need to. But with those arms spreading, again, lift the chest, shoulders away from the ears. And then soften the inner thigh of the left leg and bend that left knee. Bend the left leg with the knee over the heel. And again, torso is going more toward that back leg. And then you can look over the left fingertips. Soften the face. Lift the sternum up. Lift the sternum, side chest up, shoulders away from the ears. Soften your face. And then to come out, straighten that leg, toes forward, fingertips together, and jump or step back together. So we'll do Virabhadrasana a second time. So jump or step your feet wide. Turn your feet to the right. Remembering from the last time to lift the chest, lift the side chest, take the shoulders away from the ears. And then this time, we'll focus on the legs. So press through the outer edge of that back foot. Soften the inner thigh of the right leg. So have your knee right over the heel. And then that top thigh rolls from the inside out. So straighten the leg again. And as you lower the leg, rotate that thigh from the inside out. And then we'll do that again. Straighten that leg. As you take that thigh down, rotate from the inside out. And then again, press through the outer edge of the back foot, lift the torso up, spread the arms wide, and look over the right fingertips. We're continually working that thigh from the inside out. And as you straighten the leg, also taking that thigh from the inside out. Toes forward and to the other side. So lift the side chest up, lift that sternum up, shoulders away from the ears, take the arms wide. Then press through the outer edge of the right foot, soften the thigh of the inner thigh of the left leg, and have the knee over the heel. So we're moving that front thigh from the inside out. So let's straighten the leg a couple times again. And as you bend the leg, move from the inside out. That thigh, you can have your hand on your hip if you'd like. That thigh from the inside out. It changes the way our hips work when we rotate the thigh from the inside out. It also affects the knee. So now that we've got this here, keep that action happening from the inside out. Repress through the outer edge of that back foot. Lift the side chest up, shoulders away from the ears, and look over your right fingertip. Anytime you need rest, you can rest your arms, you can straighten the leg, anything that you need. Spread the arms wide, shoulders away from the ears, thigh going from the front to back. And then as you come out, still move that thigh from the inside out to straighten that leg, toes forward, fingertips together, and jump or step back to Tadasana. Lift that side chest up. So the hip work that we did in the last pose, as well as the chest work, we're going to take into our next pose. So Vriksasana is tree pose. So there are two supports here. If you have one or the other, that's fine. If you have a wall to stand against, you can do that. Or you can have the chair off to your right side. You could also have a tabletop or a counter, whatever you have around. Okay, so I measure myself away from the wall with my elbows. You don't want to lean on the wall. It's just so you know where the wall is. And then you'll take your elbows away. And then in Tadasana, rotate the right leg out. So this action that we were doing in the last pose when we were in Virabhadrasana, that action of the thigh going from the inside out, we're doing in this pose as well. So taking the thigh from the inside out, lift the leg high up on the inner thigh, and as you do that, we're taking that thigh from the inside out. What tends to happen is we tend to tighten up the knee and the inner thigh, so we want to let that go. Let that go, rotating that thigh from the inside out. And this is where you can decide if you want to, you could take one arm up, could keep your elbows near the wall. You could join your hands together in front of your chest. You could take both arms up. So you decide what's best for you for your Vriksasana. If you're near the wall and your arms are up, your thumbs might actually touch the wall. You don't want to just jam your arm back so you can reach it. You've got to move, as we did in the beginning of class, the triceps from the inside out. Triceps coming toward each other as you lift up. So these thumbs can help with the balance of the pose as well. And when you're feeling supported and lengthened, then you can go back and rotate that front thigh from the inside out. Soften the face, shoulders away from the ears. And then we'll bring that leg down and go to the other side. So if you're using a chair, you'll move the chair to the other side. Elbows away from the wall, or elbows length away, I should say. It's really more the upper arm length, I guess. So then you'll put your arms at your side. Roll the left leg out. So the balls of the toes are on the floor, so you can soften that inner thigh. And as we lift, we're taking that front thigh from the inside out. Front thigh from the inside out. So soften the inner part of the leg. Lift the chest, shoulders away from the ears. Softening the inner thigh and taking that thigh from the inside out. And then you can choose what to do with your hands. You can keep the supports in full contact. You can have them lightly touching every now and then. You can take your arms up. If your arms are up, you can take your thumbs to the wall for some more stability while you work on that front thigh going from the inside out, softening the inner thigh to inner knee. Making sure this knee doesn't, or this outer hip doesn't pop out, but goes in. So the right hip is not leaning to the side, but drawing in. And then lifting the sternum and the chest, taking the shoulders away from the ears. Vriksasana. And then we'll bring that leg down. And we can move the chair out of the way unless you want it for triangle pose. You can also use a block for triangle. So Utthita Trikonasana. So jump or step your feet wide. Turn your feet to the right. Before we tip down, lift the side chest up and the sternum up and take the shoulders away from the ears. Press through the outer edge of the back foot. And before we tip over the right side, think again about that rolling of that front thigh from the inside out. It's the whole leg rolling. Rolling, rolling toward the back, but the big toe mound and inner heel stays down. So with that movement of the thigh, we affect our hip in the turn, or the tipping. So shoulders away from the ears, reach the top arm up. Your hand might go to a block, or it might be on your shin. Triangle pose. Spread the arms wide. And then you might look up to your fingertips. And you might not. If there's any tension in your neck, just look forward. Utthita Trikonasana. And then to come out, press through the outer edge of that back foot for leverage to bring you up. Toes forward. Relift the side chest up, shoulders away from the ears, toes to the left side. Press through the outer edge of that back foot. The thigh rolling from the inside out. The whole thigh rotating right into that hip. And then tipping over the left side. Again, you can use a block under your hand. You can put your hand on your shin. Spread the arms wide. Keep strong contact with the outer edge of that back foot and the big toe mound in the front foot. Spread across the arms. Spread across the chest. Utthita Trikonasana. Press through the outer edge of the back foot to come up. Toes forward. Fingertips together and jump or step back to mountain. Our next pose is Parsvottanasana. So we'll use a chair for this one. Parsvottanasana is pyramid pose. So we'll use the chair seat. We'll start in Tadasana. Step your feet wide. The chair is on your right side. Then put your hands on your hips for a moment. Lift the side chest up, lift the sternum up, shoulders away from the ears. And this time when we turn our legs, we're going to turn the entire torso to your right. And then from here, press through the outer edge of the back foot. The back thigh of the back leg goes from the inside out. The back ribs coming around. Lift the front chest up. Press through the big toe mound in the front leg. And then as you extend forward, press through that outer edge of the back foot. Navel and chest comes toward the front leg. And then you'll find the chair as a nice place to land your arms. You can even pull the chair in a bit. So it's right underneath, so your hands end up right underneath your shoulders. And then lengthen. So press through the outer edge of that back foot, back thigh from the inside out, front thigh from the inside out, and then lengthen the sternum off that, or away from that. And then shoulders away from the ears. Shoulders rolling back toward the hips. And if this is limiting you, then you can take your forearms down to the chair. You could also take your hands right to the floor. You can decide what you'd like to do. Parsvottanasana. And then to come on out, press through the outer edge of the back foot to bring yourself up, toes forward, and bring your feet back together so we can move the chair if you're using the chair. So move the chair to the left side. Stand in Tadasana. Step your feet wide. Put your hands onto your hips. Lift your side chest up, sternum up, shoulders away from the ears. And then turn your feet and your torso to the left. Press through the outer edge of the back foot, and the back thigh goes from the inside out. The front thigh goes from the inside out. Press through the big toe mound in the front. Lift your side chest up. So bring those right back ribs around. And then press again through the outer edge of the back foot and lead forward with that chest. And then you can put your hands onto the chair seat. Bring the chair in so your hands are right underneath your shoulders. So again, press through the outer edge of the back foot. Back thigh goes from the inside out. Front thigh from the inside out. Big toe mound pressing down in the front foot. And so with the stability of the chair or the ease of the chair, you can really work on the rotation of the legs. So press through the outer edge of the back foot, roll the back thigh from the inside out, front thigh to the inside out, from the inside out. Again, if you really are dying to go lower, you can use the chair like this or take your hands right to the floor. It's up to you. And then to come out, press through the outer edge of the back foot to bring you up, toes forward, and carefully bring your feet back together. So Virabhadrasana 1 is our next pose, and you can use the chair in this one for support of your hands if you wish. So take your feet wide and take the arms wide. Make sure your feet are wide enough. And then rotate the inner upper arm toward the ceiling. So palms are facing the ceiling, spread across the chest. Take the arms up, lift your front body up, and turn toward the right. So our legs look like they do in the last pose. My entire torso's turning toward the right, left ribs coming around the back, press through the outer edge of the back foot, the back thigh rotates from the inside out, front thigh rotates from the inside out, and keep pressing through the big toe mound in the front. Lift the front body up. And this time we'll bend the front leg. Bending the front leg. You can put your hands onto the chair to have a nice lift of the front body, or you can keep your arms in the air. Either way, you're moving those back Ribs, the back left ribs around, lifting the front body up. Lifting, lifting, lifting. You can always have that support of the chair. You can have the support, you can always rest your hands on your hips. And then to come out, press through the outer edge of the back foot, toes forward, and bring the feet back together. And then move the chair to the other side. If you're not using the chair, then that's okay. Of course. Step your feet wide. Reach the arms out. Rotate that inner upper arm toward the ceiling so the palms go to the ceiling. And then reach the arms up, lifting the front body. And then legs and torso turn to the left. Press through the outer edge of the back foot. The back thigh goes from the inside out. Lift the front body. The front thigh goes from the inside out, and press through that big toe mound in the front. Lift the front body. Lift. So now those back right ribs are coming around. Lift up the body and then bend the front leg. So you can either stay with your arms up, you can put your arms on your hips, or your hands on your hips, or you can use the chair to lift the front body up. So back thigh moving from the inside out, front thigh moving from the inside out. And feel those feet on the floor. And lift the sternum up. And use your arms, if you are lifting your arms, use your arms to lift right up to the ceiling, lifting your front body up. And then to come out, straighten the leg, toes forward, and join your feet back together. Back to Tadasana. So press through the inner heel, big toe mound. When you're tired, don't collapse. Lift. Lift from all the work that we just did. Lift the sternum up, take your shoulders away from your ears, point your fingers toward the floor. So our next pose is Utkatasana, fierce pose. So join your feet together, press through the inner heel, big toe mound. If your feet don't go together, it's okay to have them a little bit apart. Just try to have them parallel to each other. And then reach the arms up in Urdhva Hastasana like we did at the beginning of class. Triceps coming toward each other as you lengthen the arms up. Lift the front body up, and then we'll bend the legs and sit back. So the outer thighs, we soften the inner thighs, and the outer thighs come up toward the ceiling. Lifting the arms up. Soften the face. Take that upper middle back into the body. Utkatasana. And then we'll stand, and we'll do this a couple more times. You can stay where you are. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see it from the side for this next one. So arms up, Urdhva Hastasana, triceps toward each other. Lift the front body up. And then bend the legs, soften the inner thighs. The knees are not jammed together. They're apart a little bit. And the outer thighs coming up toward the ceiling. Up toward the ceiling. Lift the front body up. That upper middle back in the back, and lift the arms up. Lengthening away. Weight in your heels. And then we'll stand. Arms down. And we'll rest for a moment and then go up one more time. So rest. Lift the chest up, shoulders away from the ears. Flowing the shoulders toward the hands. And then one more time. Arms out in front of you. Stop for a moment to work on getting them straight. The straight arms affect the shoulders and the neck, so we're working to have those straight arms. And as they go up, triceps toward the face, which also affects the neck and shoulders. Opening up the front body. And then bend the knees and sit down. Soften the inner thighs, outer thighs up toward the ceiling. Upper middle back in. Lift the inner upper arms back toward the wall behind you. Triceps coming toward each other is another way to say that. Outer thighs up. Utkatasana, fierce pose. And then we'll stand and take the arms out to the side. back to your side. Soften the face. Lift the sternum. Flow the shoulders toward the hands. Tadasana. Our next pose is Prasrita Padottanasana. So this is a pose where we'll have wide legs and put our hands onto the blocks or a chair or the floor. So it'll be like this where we put our hands down. So whatever props you need, grab those. So if you want 2 blocks in front of you, if you have an ottoman at home or a stool or something you want to put your hands on, that's fine as well. Some of you, your hands might go to the floor. So you decide what you might need. So from Tadasana, jump or step your feet wide, toes straight ahead in this case. Put your hands on your hips and lift the front chest like we did in those last poses. So lifting the sternum, lift the side chest, point the elbows back. Flow from the outer shoulder to the elbow. Lifting up. Feel your feet on the floor and notice how you're standing on them. Try to have the entire foot, each entire foot on the floor. And then as you start to lead forward with your chest, take your inner thighs toward the wall behind you. And then you can put your hands down either on the floor or the blocks. The hands will be either right under your shoulders if you're new at this. If you're not quite new, if you've been doing it for a bit, your hands can go more back in line with the big toe mounds. So wherever you are is fine. If you're a little higher, you can cup those fingers. And then bringing, as we've been doing, bringing that sternum forward, the side chest forward, and the shoulders back. So we're working to take the upper middle back in. And then soften the face. The back of your neck lengthen away from your shoulders. So you're just looking down for now. Try to notice if your hips are moving behind your feet, the heel line there. And if they are moving back, then try to get them up and over that invisible line between the heels. So there's the different hand placement depending upon where you are today. You want to work toward having that flat back, the upper middle back in. And then to come out, put your hands on your hips, point your elbows to the ceiling and lift up. And as you're doing that, the inner thighs go back as well. Then you can bring your feet together back to Tadasana. Flow the shoulders toward the hands. Lift the front body up. Soften the face. In any of these poses that we're doing and we hold for too long, you can come out. Just try to come out carefully and come out in the same way that we went in. So consciously. Okay, so our next pose is Uttanasana. It's a standing forward fold or an intense stretch. So there's different ways that we can do it, and we can do it with support, or you can hold your elbows. So I'll do it from the side just so you can see me, but you can face the camera. You can turn however you wish. So you might want the high part of the chair to rest your head on, or you might want the low part of the chair or a block, or you might just let your head hang. But let's start in Tadasana with those props nearby. So put your hands on your hips and lift that side chest again and flow the shoulder toward the elbows. And so the feet are hip distance apart. You can bring them together if you can do so with comfort, but hip distance apart. Point the elbows back, lift the side chest up, and lean or lead forward with that chest. So the same flat back as we had in the last pose. You can put your hands onto the chair if you have the chair there. If not, you can keep your hands on your hips. So that upper middle back is in still. And then from here, we'll exhale and take the head down. So you might put your head resting on your forearms on the chair. You want your hips right up over your heels. So this might be a place that you stop and open up the backs of your legs. Again, of course, you could have your head high on that part of the chair as well. You could also stack up props down here, or you can just grab your opposite elbow. You can do that, of course, as well. So you could stack up blocks, and as you're here for a bit, then sometimes you'll get longer and longer down. So, so it might be just one block. It might be a blanket underneath the blocks. It might be just grabbing your opposite elbow and allowing the weight of that bring you down toward the floor, tipping that torso upside down. Now in this one, you don't have to try to keep the shoulders away from your ears. You can just allow everything to flow down toward the floor. You can even have your hands on the floor if you wish. Whatever feels the best for you in this moment. Soften the face. Your eyes, or your thighs are lifted in this case, but the top part of you is letting go. So if you are up on the chair and you feel as though you might be ready to go a bit lower, you could put your hands on blocks. So you just make it fit whatever is best for you. This isn't so good because you would be crunching the back of your neck, but if you're able to lengthen the back of the neck while you're there, do that. So just notice when you're ready for the next level of letting go. Soften the face, soften the jaw. And to come out, you can use the props to come on out. If you tend to get a little dizzy when you come out, just come out slowly. Put your hands onto your hips, point the elbows back and lift up. And then back to Tadasana. Our next pose is Adho Mukha Svanasana. And if you've seen some of these videos, you've seen that I show you 3 different ways. So same today, you can use, and I'll just show you, and you can go into the downward dog that you know if you would like. But this is one version where you don't have to go down so far, but your hips are right over your heels and lengthening the torso. Similar with this one, but your arms are just a little bit lower this way. And then so you can either do one of those right now, or if you're doing it on the floor, we'll walk through that a little bit. So if you're on the chairs, please go and do that now. If you're doing the floor, let's do that together. So press the pointer finger mound down, the thumb mound down, and then curl the toes under. And as you press the pointer finger mound, press from there and lengthen up through the inner shoulder and up toward the hips. So a straight line from the palms to the shoulders to the hips. Take the inner thighs toward the wall behind you and the outer thighs toward the wall behind you, pressing those thighs back. Imagine that I have a strap around your thighs and pulling away from your hands, pulling you back gently to lengthen the torso. The outer shoulders roll toward the floor, back toward the ankles. And then you just let the head relax and lengthen down. Let the softness in your face And then we'll come on down and let's do another one. So if you did one of the higher versions, you can move to a lower version possibly, or stay where you were. If you're on the floor again, press through, move from the little finger side to the pointer finger side, thumb mound side. Curl the toes under, lengthen up through the shoulders, up through the hips. Press the thighs back. Lengthen the torso. Soften the face and head. Let the muscles in the face go. And then we'll come on down. So from downward dog, we'll go into Adho Mukha Virasana. So join the big toe mounds together, and the knees are just wide enough to allow the ribs through. And then you might need a block or a blanket to support your head, and I'll show you that in a moment. But you're lengthening, so you're taking your low back toward your buttocks, toward the floor. Your thighs are moving from the inside out as you lengthen away from your pelvis. And so if your head doesn't go to the floor, then you can support your head with a block or blankets. If your buttocks has a hard time going down, you can also put a blanket between your calves and your buttocks. But from here, lengthen the torso away. Your hands are shoulder distance apart. Press through the pointer finger mound, thumb mound side. And from there, lift the elbows and take your outer shoulders toward the floor. Draw your upper arms toward each other and spread the upper back. Let go of muscle work on your face, but work the arms. So your forearms in this case are actually off the floor. Pressing down through the pointer finger mound, thumb mound side. Lift the forearms up off the floor. Lifting those elbows up, and deltoids, that outer shoulder rolls toward the floor. And all of that muscular work within it, soften the face, soften the neck, soften the jaw. Adho Mukha Virasana, downward facing hero's pose. And then from here, we'll lift up, back to hands and knees, and sit up. Our next pose is Chatushpadasana. This is one where we lie down on our back. And this is where if you have a strap or a necktie or even a hand towel or maybe even a bath towel, I'll show you quickly first, and then you can pause and go get whatever prop you need and come back. So I lie down on my back. I have my strap in hand. I throw the strap over my heels and then just pull the straps up by my side so they're ready for me. Then I walk my feet in toward my buttocks, flow my shoulders toward my hands, grab onto the strap. And then from here, I lift the tailbone up, roll the shoulder under, and lift that upper back that we've been using a bit tonight, that upper middle back, lifting it up. And my buttocks I'm lifting up, and my outer thighs lifting up, and then softening the inner thigh. And then if your hands happen to touch, be able to grab your ankles, you can do that. And then I roll on out to come down, and then it's your turn. So lie down on your back, get the strap over your ankles if you're using a belt. Pull the straps so they're ready for you, and then walk those feet into your buttocks. Flow the hands, flow the shoulder toward the hands. Hold on to the straps. And then lift your buttocks up. Roll your shoulder under, flow those hands toward flow the shoulders toward your hands. And then straight arms. Sometimes the straps make it difficult. If so, you can let go of the straps and just walk those shoulders toward so your hands go closer to your feet. You can also, if your hands reach
Your ankles you can grab there. Lift that buttocks up. Lift the outer legs up. If you are holding onto your ankles, have your thumb on the same side of your foot as your fingers and lift up. And then we'll come on down and we'll go up one more time. So come on down and rest. Soften the abdomen, soften the face. And then we'll go again. So walk those feet into your buttocks. Flow the shoulders toward the hands. Lift your buttocks up. Roll a shoulder under, roll a shoulder under. Grab onto the strap if you haven't. So walking those shoulders toward the feet, walking the feet toward the hands, lifting the buttocks up, lifting the outer thighs up and softening the inner thighs. Lifting the upper back up, being on tops of those shoulders, flowing those shoulders toward the feet. Lifting the buttocks up. And then come on down. Rest. And then roll to your side and come up. So our next pose is Viparita Karani, and this is the one where our legs go up the wall. It means inverted lake pose. So you can use a block if you wish to elevate the height of your hips, or you can just have your buttocks stay flat on the floor. So if you know this pose, go ahead and go up into it. For those of you who don't yet know it, I'll show you. So I scoop myself right into the wall. So my buttocks are right at the wall. And I have the block nearby, and then roll down onto my back and take my legs up the wall. Okay, so you can stay here if you wish. Flowing the shoulders down to the hands, extend through the inner heel, big toe mound. I'll talk about that once we go up. If you want more, you can lift up your buttocks and put a block under your hips. So your shoulders are under slightly, flowing toward the hands. So it looks like this. So we'll talk about it more once we're in it. So then to come out, you put your feet on the wall, lift your hips up, get the block out of the way, and then roll to the side. Okay, so your turn. If you're already in it, go ahead and stay in it, and we'll talk about some points in a moment. Scoot yourself all the way to the wall. Have your block nearby. If you're using it, you don't have to. Then roll onto your back so your feet go up the wall, legs go up the wall. Extend through the inner heel, big toe mound. Flow the hands to the shoulders. If you want to stay here, this is great. If you want to go a little higher, bend your legs, put your feet on the wall, lift your buttocks up, and put a block underneath your hips. And if you go up a little higher, you might have to walk your shoulders in a little bit more, and then extend the legs up the wall. If you want to go a little bit higher, you can put your feet on the wall again, lift up, and add another block. You can also put blankets underneath your hips as well. So Viparita Karani, inverted lake pose. So in this case, your abdomen is the lake, softening, letting go of any muscle work. So extend through the inner heel, big toe mound, soften the abdomen. We're not going to the tops of our shoulders, but we are flowing the shoulders toward our hands. And then lengthen the back of your head away from the shoulders. So when you do that, it brings your chin down a little bit. Soften your throat and neck. Soften the muscles on your face. If you have glasses on, you could take those off. This is a great pose for just before bed. You could even lie on the floor next to your bed and put your legs up on your bed. So in that case, you could have your calf muscles just resting on the bed. Or you could lie in your bed if your bed is against the wall and take your legs up the wall on your bed. Then you're all ready for bed. You can just roll down and go to sleep. So this pose, we're starting to let go, but our legs are still active. So extend through the inner heel, big toe mound, and bring the little toe side back toward those outer hips. Draw those outer hips in. And then the abdomen is fully relaxed. And just gently spread across the collarbones toward the shoulders, toward the hands. Anytime if we're doing these poses and you start to get tingly in your feet or your hands, you can come out early. Sometimes it helps to just shift the legs a little bit to change them. Taking them into this butterfly pose is an option. But just moving the legs in a different space sometimes changes that. But don't let your toes just be tingly. If you need to come out, come on out. You would just bring your knees into your chest and roll to your side. But if they're not tingly, we're going to stay for a little bit longer. And then to come out, bend your legs, put your feet on the wall. If you have something under you, lift up and remove the block or blankets. And then roll to your side. And we'll get ready for Shavasana. So you can lie down straight on the floor, or you can put your mat back out. You can put a little something under your head if you wish. So lie down on your back. Put your feet on the floor with bent legs for a moment. Lift up and take the flesh of your buttocks away from the low back. So you're just lengthening the low back. And then take one leg out at a time. And then from there, just allow the legs to splay to the side. If you have glasses on, remove the glasses. Flow from your shoulders down to your hands. And start to let go. Soften the muscles in your face. From the middle of your forehead to your temples to the floor. Soften your cheeks and your jaw. Soften your throat and your neck. Soften your shoulders, flowing from your shoulders to your half-open hands. Soften your chest and your abdomen. Let go of any tension in your low back. And flow from your hips through your inner thighs to inner knees, to the calf muscles, to the inner heel, big toe mound. And on your next exhalation, imagine that you can just melt right into the floor. Begin to come out of Shavasana. Bend your arms, put your hands onto your front body. Anywhere that's comfortable. Your abdomen, your ribs, your chest. Bend your left leg, put your foot on the floor. Draw your right arm up and over your head. Put it off your left side and roll to your right, allowing your head to be supported on that arm. Draw your knees together for comfort. And then allow your chest to face the floor a bit to push yourself up into a seated position. Namaste.